In the outer spirals of the Helioran expanse, there was a name spoken only in whispers. Not in fear, not in hatred, but in certainty. Because when that name was spoken, death was already on its way. Kaelen, the galaxy's deadliest assassin. He did not miss. He did not hesitate. He did not ask questions. From the shattered moons of Virex Prime to the floating citadels of the Solari Concord, governments collapsed after a single pulse of his ion rifle. Warlords vanished mid-speech. Crime syndicates disintegrated overnight. No one had seen his face clearly in 10 years. No one who lived. Kaelen had once been human, earthborn, raised under blue skies and gravity that pulled gently instead of crushing bone. But Earth was long gone now, absorbed into the Terran Protectorate, then fractured in civil wars that left entire continents scarred by orbital bombardment. War created weapons, and Kaelen had been the sharpest of them. He was recruited at 17 after surviving a siege that should have killed him. The Protectorate trained him, augmented him, reshaped him. Neural implants enhanced reflexes. Ocular lenses calculated trajectories faster than thought. Nanite filaments ran through his bloodstream, sealing wounds before he felt pain. They removed fear. They muted empathy. They called it optimization. He called it survival. By 35, Kaelen was less manned and more equation. Target acquired. Wind velocity calculated. Exit route plotted. Pull trigger. Mission complete. Until the day the mission changed everything. The contract came through encrypted channels marked Priority Omega. Target: Dr. Alara Soren. Location: Planet Ithris, capital spire of the Varelian Dominion. Threat level: existential. The Dominion had long been at odds with the Terran Protectorate. Skirmishes at border systems. Proxy wars. Silent assassinations. But this contract was different. Attached to the file was a data fragment, a research log. Dr. Soren had discovered something. Something powerful enough that both sides wanted control of it. Or its destruction. Kaelen didn't care about politics. He didn't care about ideology. He cared about completion. Ithris was a world of vertical cities, crystalline towers piercing violet skies. Bioluminescent vines spiraled along architecture that seemed grown rather than built. The Varelians were not human, tall, silver-skinned beings with luminous eyes and an unsettling calmness. Kaelen infiltrated the capital spire under cover of a diplomatic cargo convoy. Cloaking mesh wrapped around his armor, bending light just enough to blur perception. He moved through corridors like a ghost between heartbeats. 3 guards fell without sound. 1 camera looped its own footage for 12 minutes. By the time the alarm system registered irregularities, Kaelen was already perched inside a ventilation chamber overlooking Dr. Alara Soren's laboratory. She wasn't what he expected. The file described a xenophysicist. Age: 42. High intelligence. Ideological radical. He expected arrogance. Instead, he saw exhaustion. She stood alone before a holographic projection, a model of star systems connected by shimmering filaments of light. Her brown hair was streaked with gray. Her hands trembled slightly as she adjusted parameters. She looked human. Very human. Kaelen steadied his rifle. Distance: 42.6 meters. Wind: irrelevant indoors. Interference: negligible. Crosshairs aligned with the base of her skull. 1 breath. Half breath. Trigger pressure minimal. And then she spoke. Not to anyone present. To the recording device. "If this message survives me," she said softly, "know that what I discovered is not a weapon. It is a bridge. And if they kill me to bury it, they bury the galaxy's last chance." Kaelen did not react. He had heard last words before. They were rarely original. He increased pressure on the trigger. But instead of turning away, she activated another projection. The room filled with shifting images, war-torn planets, destroyed fleets, Terran ships drifting lifeless, Varelian cities in ruin, and then something else, a pattern, energy fluctuations rippling between stars, a natural phenomenon, a network older than civilization. Kael's ocular implants automatically began analyzing anomalous gravitational harmonics, quantum entanglement on a cosmic scale. It wasn't a weapon schematic. It was a map of stable pathways, faster-than-light corridors that required no warp drives, no massive energy expenditure, natural folds in space-time connecting distant systems safely, unlimited travel, unlimited trade, no more border choke points, no more resource wars, no more territorial strangleholds. Peace, not by treaty, but by abundance. Kael's finger hovered. The contract classified this as existential threat. He suddenly understood why. Empires thrived on scarcity. Dr. Soren's discovery would dismantle power structures across the galaxy. He recalculated. Mission objective: eliminate target. Probability of galactic destabilization if research suppressed: 87%. Probability of long-term peace if corridors shared: unknown, but non-zero. A flicker of something buried under years of conditioning, stirred in him. Doubt. His calm implant crackled. Veyron, status. Handler voice. Cold. Controlled. Target in sight, Kael replied. Proceed. His finger tightened. Dr. Soren sighed, unaware of the death aimed at her. For once, she whispered to herself, I hope someone out there chooses differently. Kael pulled the trigger. Middle, the shot that changed everything. The rifle discharged with a muted pulse. But the shot did not strike Dr. Soren. Instead, it shattered the power conduit behind her, plunging the laboratory into darkness. Emergency alarms blared. Red lights flashed. Dr. Soren ducked, startled. Kael moved. He dropped from the vent, landing silently. In one motion, he grabbed her arm and pressed her against the wall. Don't scream, he said. She stared at him, at the matte black armor, the visor hiding his face. You're here to kill me, she said calmly. I was. Outside, security forces scrambled. You have 2 minutes, Kael said. Convince me. She swallowed. Not in panic, in urgency. They'll destroy it, she said. Both sides. They profit from war. These corridors, they make control obsolete. Kael scanned hallway feeds through hacked sensors. Reinforcements incoming. Upload your data, he ordered. To where? To me. Her eyes widened. You're not Protectorate. I was, he said. Once. She hesitated only a second before transferring files to his neural storage. Footsteps thundered outside. Why? She asked him. Kael didn't answer. Because he didn't know. He grabbed her hand. We're leaving. They blasted through a side access hatch as security units breached the main door. Stun rounds sizzled past. Kael returned precise, disabling shots. He guided her through maintenance shafts and down anti-grav shafts normally used for cargo. Extraction impossible, his handler's voice hissed in his ear. What are you doing, Veyron? He muted the channel. They reached an external docking ring where Kael's stealth craft clung magnetically to the spire. A squad of Dominion enforcers blocked the way. Kael stepped in front of Dr. Soren. Stay behind me. He moved like the weapon he had been trained to be. 3 shots. 3 disarmed opponents. A flash grenade. Close quarters strikes calculated to incapacitate, not kill. He realized distantly that he was pulling punches. He had never done that before. They boarded the craft just as heavy artillery began targeting the ring. Kael launched into the violet sky, engines silent but swift, missiles locked on. He twisted through skyscraper canyons, skimming bioluminescent towers. "Where are we going?" she demanded. "Somewhere neither side controls." "That doesn't exist." "It will." He activated the first of the corridor coordinates she'd uploaded. Space bent. Stars stretched. And then they were somewhere else. Climax. The choice broadcast to the stars. The ship emerged in an uncharted system. No patrols. No colonies. Just a quiet yellow star and a ringed gas giant. Kael hovered in silence. Behind them, signals flared across known space. Both the Protectorate and the Dominion had detected the corridor jump. They knew. Within hours, fleets would trace the anomaly. Dr. Soren looked at him carefully. "You can still kill me," she said. "Erase this." "I know." "Why didn't you?" He removed his helmet. It was the first time in years he had shown his face. Scarred. Tired. Human. "Because I'm done being their solution." Long-range scanners pinged. 2 fleets entering system. Opposing sides. Weapons charging. They had followed. Kael's mind raced. If either side seized the corridor data, war would escalate beyond containment. There was only one move left. "Can you transmit it?" he asked. "To everyone," she said. "Open source?" "Yes." "That makes us enemies of both." He almost smiled. "Already am." They linked her research to the ship's long-range array. Protectorate Admiral Heston's face appeared on screen. Dominion High Commander Vale shimmered beside him on split channel. "Stand down," Heston ordered. "Veyron, you are compromised." "Return the scientist," Vale demanded. "We will be merciful." Kael opened a galaxy-wide broadcast channel. Every major system. Every independent colony. Every pirate relay. "This is Kael Veyron," he said evenly. Across the galaxy, silence spread. "I was sent to eliminate Dr. Alara Soren. Instead, I am delivering her discovery to all of you." Data began streaming. Corridor coordinates. Physics models. Verification logs. "You cannot bury what everyone holds," Kael continued. "You cannot monopolize what no one owns." Weapons locked onto his ship. Dr. Soren squeezed his arm. "They're going to fire." "I know." Admiral Heston's voice trembled with fury. "Last chance, Veyron." Kael looked at the stars. All the missions. All the names. All the ghosts. He had been the galaxy's deadliest assassin. Feared. Efficient. Empty. Today he chose something else. "Pull the trigger," he whispered, not to himself, but to them. Both fleets fired. Energy beams converged. And then nothing. Ships across both armadas flickered. Sensors overloaded. Because thousands of civilian vessels had just activated the newly released corridor routes simultaneously, warping space unpredictably across the battlefield. The fleets were forced to disengage to avoid catastrophic gravitational interference. Chaos. Confusion. Opportunity. The galaxy had the map now. There was no going back. Kael's ship drifted, damaged but intact. He exhaled. For the first time in years, it wasn't a tactical breath. It was relief. Ending, mercy is the hardest shot weeks past. Independent systems began testing the corridors. Trade routes expanded overnight. Food shipments reached famine worlds. Medical supplies crossed distances once impossible. The great powers blustered, threatened, but they could not revoke physics. Kael and Dr. Soren remained in the uncharted system, repairing the ship. "You realize," she said one evening as they watched the ringed gas giant glow in starlight, "you changed the balance of power forever." "I delayed it," he corrected. Why risk everything? He considered. Because killing you would have been easy. And mercy was harder. She smiled softly. You know they'll never stop hunting you. I know. A transmission blinked on the console. Encrypted. Unknown origin. It contained only one line. Corridor established. Thank you. Then another. And another. Hundreds. From across the galaxy. Not governments. People. Kael watched the messages scroll. For years, his name had meant death. Now it meant something else. Choice. He turned to Dr. Soren. What will you do now? Build, she said. Teach. Share. And me. She studied him carefully. You could start by being human again. He looked at his scarred hands. At the stars connected by invisible threads. The rifle still rested near the pilot's chair. Loaded. Ready. He picked it up. Waited. Then disengaged the power core and set it aside. Not destroyed. Not forgotten. But no longer defining him. The galaxy's deadliest assassin had pulled the trigger. And chosen mercy. For the first time, Kael Veron was not a weapon. He was a man standing at the edge of a new frontier, one not carved by violence, but by possibility. Above them, ships continued to flicker in and out of the corridor network, like stars learning to speak to one another. And somewhere, in the quiet spaces between systems, a different kind of legend began to spread. Not of fear, but of the day mercy echoed louder than a gunshot.